he completely throws his wife under the bus. No, nothing. He's just like, it's not we. He says he completely blames his wife. And like, I mean, judging by her predatory nature, like maybe there's some role of it. Like, but clearly he's involved. He's fucking watching from the corner of the room.
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight. Losing my religion.
Welcome to My Brother, My Brother's Friend and Me, a podcast where two ex-evangelical siblings and an ex-Catholic non-sibling review Christian media and either praise or condemn it. I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Michael.
And today, we are doing a special emergency episode looking into the rise and fall of one Jerry Falwell Jr.
Real quick. That's the siren for, we got an emergency boys meeting, an emergency boys. We had to call the boys in and have this conversation.
Yes, this is a secret late night recording. We
just
saw
the boys today.
Just the boys today. We're reporting this like 5 days after the fact, but like
emergency recording nonetheless.
The article I used extensively was written today.
Oh shit! Okay.
So I want to point out, we were like, the shoe kept dropping.
That's true. Yeah. We have a small timeline that is just like it continues to expand over the course of several days. So, yeah, like. It is, what is today? The 29th of August, as we're recording this, and, like, Falwell only resigned on the 24th, 25th. Jeez, yeah, okay, we'll get into that. So let's set up a little bit of background about why this matters, to the presumed audience of our podcast, and then we'll break down this whole mess. So Liberty University is this, extremely, for some reason, influential in the evangelical community university that was founded only in 1971 by Jerry Falwell Sr., who is like one of the main like fucking puppet masters behind Reagan's moral majority. And he founds this university to like give evangelical people like a good Christian university education.
I know what you are all thinking. Finally. A place where Christians can learn in peace. Thank God. With all of these atheist, God-hating colleges that exist across the nation. Thank the man himself.
I mean, that's literally the premise of the first God's Not Dead movie, right? So...
Yeah, that's literally the premise of the first God's Not Dead movie.
I feel like I need to admit something, probably, because Aaron, you definitely don't know this. When I was looking at what college to go to, the college I almost went to was Lynchburg University. Don't worry. Nope. It's in Lynchburg. There are two colleges. Lynchburg University, the fun, cool, hip one, and Liberty University. The Liberty students call the Lynchburg students the heathens on the hill.
That's really funny.
That is a true fact.
Yep, I've got some buds that still go to, Lynchburg, and they're like, yeah, these people are crazy.
So let's also be super clear, is Liberty University serves less as like an education facility and more as like a who's who of right-wing politics.
Yeah.
So like if you look at like rankings about Liberty University, so Forbes rated them for 2019 the 585th best university in the country. That's
not very good, sir.
No, that's not great.
For those wondering at home, I actually am the 584th best university.
And also, I think a couple of things to note about Liberty University. It's referred to as a pilgrimage site for GOP candidates. It is called a bastion of the Christian right. Ronald Reagan had a very close relationship with the university and gave it significant publicity. George H.W. Bush spoke there, Clarence Thomas, George W. Bush, Mitt Romney, Newt Gingrich, Jeb Bush, Bobby Jindal, and John McCain. Libertarian presidential candidate Gary Johnson, Donald
They got
Trump.
the J-Man there?
Yep.
They got my man Gary?
Uh-huh. And most recently, Mike Pence as well.
Mike Pence is the least surprising person to step foot in that campus.
Yeah.
That tracks super hard. I also want to point out that not only is this, like, where the GOP candidates go, this is where, like, this is a conservative hub. Like, they've had every Duck Dynasty person there, like, 4 or 5 times. And, like, it's almost at this point they just wanted an arena for, like, terrible humans to speak. And they just went the long way around.
Josh, where else are good Christians gonna be able to fight against cancel culture? They have to make their own separate zone so that way they can speak to their audiences.
They just need a zone of protection. A protection zone. Almost like a... Maybe like a safety zone?
Like a safety area?
Of some sort? Safety area.
Yeah, it's almost like the word you're looking for is a safe space.
Nah, no way.
Oh, you snowflake.
Okay, so...
You wait, you cuck.
No, okay, alright. Josh, with that segue, let's talk about the scandal. So, the president of this esteemed university, taking over, did he take over after his father passed?
Yeah, it was right after his father passed.
Okay, yeah.
Like, literally day of.
Oh,
nepotism!
I mean, he founded the university, I guess, like, sure, whatever. So after Jerry Falwell Jr. Goes to hell, Jerry Falwell Sr. goes to hell, Jerry Falwell Jr. Takes over this university, and he runs it from, I believe, 2007 until very recently in 2020. And because he was... So it's the details are unclear, as we'll get into. He was supposed to resign, and then he didn't resign, and then he did resign, but also the way he resigned and made it so he could also continue to collect money from the university. So it's
exactly
complicated.
How I want to quit my job.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do think we need to talk a little bit about who Jerry Falwell Sr. is, actually.
Okay. Set him up.
I think he ties in really well with other things we've done on this podcast.
I'm certain.
So he was the founder of the Moral Majority, which if those of you who are longtime listeners will remember, I made Aaron cry by talking to him about the rise of the religious right, and this man was one of the pioneers of that movement. He also ties in with another figure that has infamy on this podcast.
Hold on. I just got the deepest feeling of dread crawl up my spine. I'm so afraid right now.
I got the most excitement I'm legally allowed to have while talking to people that I am not in a relationship with. What are the words you're about to say?
I know it.
So I'm just going to read straight off. In March 1987, Pentecostal televangelist Jim Baker became the subject of media scrutiny when it was revealed he had a sexual encounter and alleged rape with Jessica Hahn and paid for her silence. So Baker wanted to avoid a takeover by a fellow Pentecostal pastor and appointed Falwell Sr. to succeed him as the head of his ministry, which included the PTL satellite network, the television program PTL Club, and the Christian-themed amusement park Heritage USA.
Oh my Christ.
Baker believed Falwell would only temporarily lead the ministry until the scandal died down, but Falwell barred Baker from returning.
Okay,
and
that's
referred
really funny.
to him.
Funny.
Referred to him as probably the greatest scab and cancer on the face of Christianity in 2,000 years of church history.
Oh my god, he said this dude's worse than Judas.
Oh my god.
Falwell raised $20 million to keep PTL solvent. However, it did not bring them out of bankruptcy, and he resigned in October of that same year.
So this family has a history of I guess technically it's a resignation. It's a resignation. Yeah, I mean, you're not working here anymore.
I just love how Christian organizations are like a pyramid scheme / Ouroboros.
I love that we've got like a Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of going on.
Yes, I love this. Fucking everything is canon.
I mean, I'm sorry I had to interrupt you, but I just got to that point in my notes and I was like, no, I have to interject right here.
No, I'm glad you did, because we need to set up the context for all of this. So that guy was this guy's dad. So Jerry Falwell Jr., after his dad dies, takes over, and he is the president of Liberty University up until recently. And he, over the past couple years, has had, obviously very influential in the, Christian right of American politics. Right, he ended up doing a surprise endorsement of Donald Trump over Ted Cruz, which possibly, you could arguably led to him winning the presidency. Right, but as of the past couple months even, right, but the trouble for Falwell Jr., really starts in June of 2019 when this New York Times story gets published, which suggests that this endorsement of Donald Trump over Ted Cruz has to do with blackmail, allegedly because Michael Cohen, who is famously Donald Trump's like fixer, shitty lawyer, he's like a thug that wears a suit, like he's like kind of a bad guy. He apparently allegedly had these photos of Falwell Jr.'s wife, Becky Falwell, and he was using them to blackmail Falwell Jr. into this endorsement. And of course they denied it categorically, but let's see if I can find like a good quote from this New York Times story that okay. What's crazy about this New York Times story is that it is initiated with the help of Tom Arnold, who I wasn't he just from like the Best Western commercials? Like when I read that in this New York Times story, I was like, why the fuck is Tom Arnold here? Apparently he's a comedian / undercover Trump investigator.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
like actively.
Good
so
for
like
him.
He figured out about these photos because he like started investigating Michael Cohen, and like he recorded Michael Cohen talking about this scandal with the Falwells. Okay. So this is what Cohen is saying on this recording to Tom Arnold. These photos between husband and wife, Mr. Cohen added, joking that the evangelicals are kinkier than Tom Arnold. He explained, I was going to pay him, and I was going to get all the negatives and do an agreement where they turn over all the technology that has the photographs or anything like that, any copies. But the payoff never happened, he said, and the guy just either deleted them on his own or what have you. That guy is going to refer to one... what is his name? Giancarlo Granda, right? Is that how you say his name?
Yes.
Who
I believe so.
So this Giancarlo Granda guy is this guy that Cohen is referring to, and he like is apparently he comes clean to Reuters about this story, and this story is published on August 24th about noon 2020, and this story is like this wild thing that confirms this New York Times reporting, this Tom Arnold undercover reporting, where this pool boy Giancarlo Granda is like, yeah, so I met the Falwells at this Florida like beach place, and they they started taking an interest in me because I told them I was interested in like real estate, and this develops that's I mean, not a euphemism, but also definitely a euphemism.
Well, it's definitely a euphemism.
I actually want to jump in because then that leads to the last article that I cite in this. So it's actually a Politico magazine article from September 9th, 2019.
Oh my
and
God.
So that article took the point of view of we were starting to hear this weirdness about the photos and all of this from the time. So they wanted to take a different look at it. And so they decided to take a look at how the school was run. And one of the quotes is, "We're not a school, we're a real estate hedge fund."
I mean, that makes more sense.
He was talking about real estate, believe it or not. And then another quote was, "There's no accountability. Jerry's got pretty much free reign to wheel and deal professionally and personally."
I want to point out that I do also constantly say about myself that I am not a school. I'm a real estate hedge fund.
And one of the interesting through lines of this article, and like I feel like I'm like trying to like guide a thread through here, is that everyone who Politico spoke with was like, yeah, Jerry talks about his sex life all the time. It's so weird. Like,
oh my God.
We'll be in a meeting and he'll be like, you know, talking about like how big his dick is. And they're like, I don't understand. So this was starting very early.
Yeah. Like there's clearly signs that the Falwells are like weird, like do some weird sex stuff. And listen, that's fine. We want to be clear. You can be into weird sex stuff. That's fine. It's that this guy is, you know, running a Christian university with strict evangelical, like, religious moral codes. And, like, their school is, like, you know, if you anything outside of marriage between a, quote, like, naturally born woman and a naturally born man is, like, immoral.
You can get kicked out of the school if you go visit relatives and one of them is gay.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's that
this
kind
dude
of place.
Sucks.
This dude sucks shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get one kink shame card that every podcaster is allowed, and this is the one that we're using it on.
Well, and they really do like go out of their way to antagonize queer people and just make it very clear that they're not welcome there.
And Muslim people and black people.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, if we're just looking at a pure like terms and conditions situation, he technically signed on to agree to all of the rules and guidelines. So he did break his contract by doing some of the things that come up later, right? Like maybe so far we don't have anything that is damning. But actually, their board ruled that both he and his wife were to be held to that same standard as the students, which will come up later.
Yeah. So, it comes up in, actually, March of 2012, when, Falwell Jr. and Becky Falwell, meet Giancarlo Granda, who is this pool boy working at the Fontainebleau Miami Beach Hotel. However they did it, they come on to him, and according to Granda in this writer's article, continuing into the year 2018, Granda carried an affair with Becky Falwell, quote, while Jerry Falwell looked on. And from Granda's own words, "Becky and I developed an intimate relationship, and Jerry enjoyed watching from the corner of the room," Granda said in an interview. Now 29, he describes the liaisons as frequent, multiple times per year, and said the encounters took place at hotels in Miami and New York, and at the Falwell's home in Virginia.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a cock.
I hate to be a live fact checker for Aaron, but to make a reference to my hero, actually, that's not true, Aaron. It started before 2012.
Really? Okay, because I haven't. This is just from the Reuters article.
So we have a fresh, hot off the press wrinkle in which I sent Aaron that we have been dying to talk
this
about.
Thing, okay.
That actually began as early as 2008.
Oh my God.
Yes. So back in 2008, this is all in a Politico article, which is wild. So this student of Liberty, who was a friend of the Falwell's son.
A bandmate.
Yes. So he was in a band with them.
Wait. This is the most important question I've ever had. Were they in a band or were they in the band? Because that difference is so big.
No, they were in a band.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's even more nuts that it's like, oh yeah, that's Jared. He's on the drums. Like, that's the most nuts thing.
It really is. So, back in 2008, while Becky was an employee of the school and her husband was the chancellor and president, this young man, who was, I believe, 22 at the time, was frequently over for band practice and would like sleep over. And so let me just cut to the chase. They have a thing that they like to do because Becky apparently performed oral sex on him. And he posted a litany of messages he received from her on Facebook Messenger where he like wouldn't respond or like would leave her on read. And she would like text 6 or 7 times. She eventually says, I see that you got a girlfriend. I'm so happy for you. I hope you can put whatever friction or tension between us behind us. But the long and short of it is that Becky had oral sex with this young man, and her husband knew about it, was around. So he was not in the room, but he was in the house with them. And so, again, this is a part of a pattern.
So this is his experimental days, where he's like, listen, I like it when a dude fucks my wife, but not enough I can take it up a notch. And he does.
He does 4 years later with Granda.
Yep. And so this young man actually compares his story to a biblical story about Joseph, where Joseph found himself cornered by a woman who wanted to have sex with him. And he was basically like, the difference was Joseph said no, I said yes.
But like, God, reading that, you should read this. Like, it is so, she is aggressive according to this account. Like, she like, at first he was resistant but like, she would like, you know, come up to him when he's all sweaty after band practice and like, be like, oh, do your friends know that I think you're hot? And like, you know, like when he's sleeping over, she would like crawl into bed with him and then he'd be like, I don't know about this. But like,
I know I laughed. That's so messed up.
It's pretty bad.
It's very predatory.
I mean, it's plain and simple predatory.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know sometimes, like, with accounts when it's a young man, sometimes they are ignored because it's like, oh, wouldn't you love for something like that to happen? No, sometimes you don't. So, that's super gross. And fuck these people.
I mean, she went as far to create a fake Facebook profile to contact him and flirt with him. And he realized, he was like, this sounds like an old person. And in the article, he's quoted as saying, this isn't an old person, it's Becky. So, yeah, that one only came out a few days ago. So I'm sorry yet again for an interruption, but that feels like an important note that this started as early as 2008.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so, like, clearly the Falwells have this pattern of, like, seeking out young boys and, you know, having these affairs with them. But, like, specifically with Granda, it happened in 2012, but Granda's involvement is significant for a couple reasons. Firstly, because it lasted until 2018. So that's, like, 6 or 7 years. And then the thing with Granda, though, is that it is, like, so we talked about the predatory nature of these relationships, right? She and her husband are like powerful people, right? So, you know, like from the Reuters article, Granda says that while he entered into the sexual relationship with the Falwells willingly, today he feels the couple preyed on him. And like, I can definitely see that argument because like he was 20, like that's not very old. Like it's definitely like a weird power dynamic that I'm not entirely comfortable with. But what happens as their relationship matures, so to speak, is that Granda begins getting involved in real estate, like he said, and the Falwells want to like go in on him with him on this like sort of like they do want to go in
almost
him.
Freudian switch. They do want to go down on him. Aaron is correct there.
They like want to like basically help him buy this like hostel / like party sex house, and like they eventually do it, but what happens is that like the way there's like a falling out between them at some point, and like either Granda like feels like they are not giving him enough ownership in this hostel, and so like he begins to turn this thing around on them, and I'm pretty sure Granda does try to extort them, because like he even admits in the Reuters article, like, let's see, he says, "Since you're okay with ruining my life, I am going to take the kamikaze route." Granda wrote to Jerry Falwell, "It really is a shame because I wanted to reach a peaceful resolution and just move on with our lives, but if conflict is what you want, then so be it." Like, at some point, he tries to leverage the relationship against them, and that's where we get all these leaks and these stories, because like that's around the time that like 2019 is when all these stories start coming out, and that's right after Granda decides he's gonna try to sabotage the Falwells, and like so all of this comes to a head this week. This Reuters article I'm reading from came out on August 24th at 12 p.m. But on August 23rd at 9:32 p.m., the Washington Examiner published Jerry Falwell Jr.'s statement, because presumably he had been alerted about this Reuters story going forward, and he wanted to get out ahead of it. He publishes this statement that reads as follows. "During a vacation over 8 years ago, Becky and I met an ambitious young man who was working at our hotel and was saving up his money to go to school. We encouraged him to pursue an education and a career, and we were impressed by his initiative in suggesting a local real estate opportunity. My family members eventually made an investment in a local property, included him in the deal because he could play an active role in managing it, and became close with him and his family. Shortly thereafter, Becky had an inappropriate relationship with this person, something in which I was not involved." He completely throws her under the bus!
Also, I really want a reading of that with certain pauses with different words.
"Shortly thereafter, Becky had an inappropriate personal relation." He completely throws his wife under the bus. No, nothing. He's just like, it's not we. He says he completely blames his wife. And like, I mean, judging by her predatory nature, like maybe there's some role of it. Like, but clearly he's involved. He's fucking watching from the corner of the room.
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight. Losing my religion.
That song's about masturbation, right?
It is. It's literally.
Yeah.
Him. He was getting down with them bad self.
Holy shit.
That's the funniest thing I've ever said.
Yeah, that's gotta be top 4.
I went to space.
So, are we gonna talk about the Instagram post?
Yeah, I guess we should. So, like, Falwell Jr. had already been on bad terms with Liberty because, like, on August 7th, I want to say, he posted this thing to his Instagram. Yes, August 7th. He is placed on indefinite leave after posting this, quote, racy photo, which, it's so weird. Like, it shows him in this, like, black t-shirt and jeans with, like, his belly sticking out, and he's holding, like, a glass of, like, what is probably a Coke and rum. I can't really tell. Also, his pants are, like, unzipped, and you can see his underwear. And, like, he's got his arm around this young woman who, she's much, younger than her. It's not Becky Falwell. It's apparently, like, a friend or employee of theirs. And she's also got her pants unzipped, and, like, she's in a crop top, and, like, he's got his arm around her. And, like, is it racy? Like, I don't know. It's a little weird. Like, for Liberty University, yes, I guess it's racy. But, like, I mean, it just seems like a weird picture to put on Instagram willingly.
Well, and let's talk about the caption, which is
please.
More vacation shots. Lots of good friends visited us on the yacht. I promise that's just black water in my glass. It was a prop only.
It's so weird. What a weird
It's one of those things that, like, you're so specific about that you're lying. Because, like, you could just set that down and not have that in the photo.
Like, God, he's so fucking stupid.
It almost vibes like it's the dude that, like, he's so clearly going through a midlife crisis. You know what I mean? Like, that's so clearly what that picture is.
Yeah.
And a midlife crisis is nothing to mock.
Yes, it is. Shut up.
It is. You're gonna die soon.
So that was when I first started tuning in. I don't know about you all. I had read like the old Politico article that I was quoting about like how Liberty was run. None of that seemed remarkable to me given whispers I had heard. But like once I saw this photo, I was like, oh, someone's having like some sort of break. Something's happening here. I need to start tuning in.
I didn't care until I had to watch reporters that cared about their jobs write the word cuck. And that's when my ears... I actually have a Google alert set up for any time the word cuck is used in a scholarly article. If anyone knows me who listens to this cast, if anyone doesn't know me that listens to this cast, how are you doing? What are you doing here?
Which one of us is your favorite? I really want to know.
Yeah, which one's your favorite and why is it me? I love the word cuck so much. It's my favorite insult because unlike anything that's like a bad like word, like you chose that life. Like you chose to be a cuck. And like if you're chilling a cuck, I don't care. Then own it. Then yeah, you're a cuck. But like there's something that we seriously need to discuss, and that is the extreme toxic masculinity that exists within the circles that we are discussing. Like, I've read so many articles that are like, man, he's not going to get over this thing. He watched a dude fuck his wife. That's it. Like, no one's going to think he's a man. And I'm like, that can't be the thing. That can't be the thing.
But it is.
That can't be the thing. But that's the thing.
It's just the thing. So wild. Like, this dude who's such a huge piece of shit is brought down by, like, what would otherwise be, like, kind of an innocuous and fun sexual act. Like, it's the toxic masculinity that is bringing his empire to ruin, which is a delicious slice of irony.
So I love that you two say that. So I read an article today as I was coming back from my run in the Washington Post by a research fellow at the Kinsey Institute who was talking about the near one-for-one correlation with conservative heterosexual cisgender men and this sexual fantasy of being cuckolded.
What the fuck? Hold on.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Wait.
Please elaborate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you guys percentages. So
say more right now.
A majority of heterosexual men, 52%, said they fantasized about watching their partner have sex with someone else.
Aaron, what is up with your people? Get a control on your people.
We're just wild.
We're just freaks.
But hold on, there is a wilder group. Heterosexual men who identified as Republican were the most likely to report having had such a fantasy, and they fantasized about it more often than Democrats. So fewer than half of Democratic straight men, 49%, reported having the fantasy, and 19% said they fantasize about it often. By contrast, 64% of heterosexual Republican men reported having this fantasy. And
that's so many!
30% said it was a frequent fantasy.
Oh my God!
And so there was this sex therapist, Jack Moran, who termed like the erotic equation, which is attraction plus obstacles equals excitement. So this article goes on to postulate that like that is like an emasculation that is forbidden, that is like the worst thing in quotations that you can do. And that is what is leading to the whole like thing here and why it's Republican conservative men and not Democratic men, because the fear of being emasculated. So yes, this is all about toxic masculinity.
God.
Holy shit. This is my new favorite fact. I have a new favorite fact, guys.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
This is wild.
Republican Christian men. Y'all freaks.
Y'all dirty.
Y'all... What are y'all into?
Cuckolding, apparently.
Yep. 64% of you.
God.
Holy
I
shit.
bet none of you are listening to this podcast.
Okay, so, I mean, after this news breaks, it's, it's all basically downhill for Falwell Jr. Like, so this story breaks at 12 p.m. on August 24th, this writer's story. By 5:50 p.m., it is reported PR that Falwell Jr. is resigning from Liberty U immediately. However, by 7 p.m.
Get ready for the
on
twist.
the 24th, another Twitter reporter reports that Jerry Falwell Jr. is not resigning. And it becomes like this whole deal where, like, for a couple hours, let me see. The actual quote from Maggie Severance is, new. Jerry Falwell Jr. is not leaving his post, despite indications from Liberty that he will do so. Quote, I have not resigned, Falwell says, which is about as straightforward as you can get. And then the next day, another reporter by the name of Rich Chumney says, quote, Jerry Falwell Jr. just confirmed to me that he has submitted his resignation to Liberty's board. Quote, it's a relief, he said. The quote that keeps going through my mind this morning is Martin Luther King Jr. Free at last, thank God Almighty I'm free at last. Like, what a fucking dick.
Yeah.
My dude. You know what my initial reaction was? God, what a cuck.
You wouldn't be wrong.
Oh,
Gosh.
man.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Mathematically, what a cuck.
I mean, the worst part about this is that because of for some reason, Falwell Jr. claims that he is going to be able to make, $1 million each year for the next 2 years, and then 8.5 million after that, because of for whatever reason, he's claiming that because of the way that he was resigned or asked to be let go, it didn't I guess fall under the purview. He reported this to the Washington Post. So let's see. He said he will receive about 2.5 million during the next 2 years, another 8 million thereafter. Falwell told the Washington Post his Liberty contract entitles him to the severance package because he is departing the school without being formally accused of or admitting to wrongdoing. Dude.
What a great contract that literally says, if you catch me watching someone fucking my wife, you have to give me $1 million, but I don't have to work for you. What a good deal.
I mean, yeah, it's an incredible deal. What a great
it is.
position. I guess they're hiring now, so.
All right, boys, we know what's next.
All right, Michael, it's all you. If anyone is going to take down huge institutions from the inside out, I trust Michael to do it.
That's the role I was born to play.
Michael, I was not expecting exactly this scandal to be the one that you would be the one responsible for, I knew you'd destroy a couple Christian organizations. And I knew it would probably for some extramarital stuff, but it wasn't specifically this.
Hey, what can I say? What can I say?
A man of many talents.
Oh, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, I just think this is wild, right? I've done a lot of research into, in particular, the two through lines that I'm most fascinated with are Becky and the whole slush fund real estate thing. I just find it very interesting. So that real estate deal that they did has actually been hemorrhaging money. So that little hostel that they co-own, I think it's depreciated in hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's because the dude likes to watch stuff get fucked.
Are you proud of yourself?
I'm so proud of myself. I'm so funny and smart.
So I feel like I just need to get us back on track.
Please.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I will say one board member who wished to remain anonymous for the Politico magazine article said that Liberty University is, quote, a totally dysfunctional organization, and said it is very similar to Trump's White House.
Wow. That is actually difficult to tell with the type of people they attract, if that was a compliment or something negative, because that could mean, like, they're completely brainwashed and, like, it's good and perfect.
I think the fact that just the line prior he said it was completely dysfunctional tells you all you need to know. So I actually think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here besides, like, the, like, you know, salacious scandals, because the entire way that they have been choosing to run that organization has just been odd and bizarre and well documented as, like, seeming like kind of a front. And then when you start getting into the fact that, you know, Falwell's endorsement of Donald Trump was timed pretty close to the Iowa caucus, which Iowa, the Republican caucus, is a caucus that is mostly made up of evangelicals. So this was an endorsement that arguably hurt Ted Cruz, who did win the caucus, but by less than, you know, conventional wisdom said
Wasn't
he would.
Falwell, like, wasn't there a big belief that he was going to go for Ted Cruz, too?
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird. There's so many things going on here. So, you know, the photos being a whole thing, and then, you know, owing a favor to Michael Cohen. Like, I don't know. This just seems like some mob shit, but it's like if all the mobsters only had 2 functional brain cells and one
I mean, that's
said,
Michael Cohen.
Yeah.
Like, he's a fucking wannabe mafioso, except he's an idiot.
But all of these people involved have 2 modes, horny and money horny, and that's it.
Well, I genuinely believe that, like, Cohen had, like, that info and was like, hey, support Trump. And Falwell has 0 backbone, and was like, yeah, I mean, sure, I don't care about this country or the people in it. Haven't ever. So why is this an issue? Oh, you're telling me I get to make Ted Cruz sad? Win-win.
I mean, yeah, it's like gotta be a blackmail scheme, right?
Yeah, it like
Yeah.
I'm not even in conspiracy theory. Like, oh, I believe it, but like, I genuinely think that's what happened. Knowing everything you do about this administration, it just makes the most sense.
It's also the simplest explanation, right? Like, with this part of it, there's not a lot of there. I'm interested in, you know, some of the real estate dealings and how, you know, Liberty University just keeps buying properties under the Falwells. And I'm interested to see, like, how much of this is theirs, how much of this is the school's, like, where's the line?
I bet that's going to be some interesting legal cases here shortly.
Yeah.
Of exactly that issue coming up.
I mean, maybe Liberty U will turn on the Falwells and, like, we'll get to see all those the breakdown of, like, how much, like, of their personal, like, wealth is invested in Liberty U's.
I want to know exactly how much Liberty money went into a high-definition camera that was strapped on this dude's for a GoPro. That way Jerry Falwell could get an up-and-close view of his wife getting railed by another man.
So there is one more thing that
Don't tell me you have this GoPro video.
I have the GoPro video, and it's gonna be our intro. No,
Michael's like,
I don't.
I had a crazy trip to Lynchburg last week. You'll never believe what happened.
Surprise! So no, it's a little bit less than that. The Falwell's son is actually presently a vice president at the university, and they own a shopping mall that is technically owned by the university, but is also managed by that same son, who is the friend of the man who in 2008 had oral sex with Mrs. Falwell.
And we're going to that mall right now.
And we're taking a cast trip.
Can I just say, why are these people so bad at this?
Because if they were good at it, like, we wouldn't know about it.
Yeah. But like, when you're set, I know we don't hear about the people that are good at it, but this should never have been a thing. Like, I'm glad it is. I am so glad it is. There is a God, and I know it because this is a thing. But like, to be born with so much money and power just bestowed upon you, and to blow it so royally. He didn't blow it. He did get a $1 million deal for
yeah.
And while he watched
multiple times.
Yeah. While his son was asleep in the next room.
So his son was not on the premises. The friend made sure to make that clear.
Oh, the funny thing about the son is that they tried to kick him out of the band.
I know.
Like, yeah, I'm fucking your mom and you're out of the band, idiot.
Wow. You know what's terrible? I bet the song that was made about that experience is fucking great.
See, here's the thing. Becky thinks that they did actually make a song about the experience, which is...
Yeah, she does.
Oh my god, what's it called?
There's a quote. Oh my god, Michael, you have the political article pulled up. Find that quote.
Okay, here are the song lyrics. So Becky thought he wrote a song about her, the bandmate said. It wasn't, the former student said. He recalled Falwell frequently asking him to write a song for her. I think she just wanted to believe that Shady Grove was about her. The lyric is, "My dear, I love your mess and everything in between. If we slow down long enough, I can show you what I mean." She was calling him while he was in class, leaving a message, and then singing like songs on there. And he was like, "You can't be calling me in class, leaving voicemails with my own song lyrics and other people's song lyrics on it. That's weird."
Right now, I need instant answers, which is weird. Someone leaving their own, your song lyrics or someone else's song lyrics. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yours, because yours are almost certainly worse than anybody's who's actually real.
Yep.
I don't know. We listened to our last podcast. I think I could come up with some that are better.
Fair. So Becky also contacted the student's mother.
I forgot about that. Yeah, she befriends her lover's mom.
Yeah. And like this was the last message. One of the last messages Falwell sends reads simultaneously supportive and apologetic. "I'm so thrilled that you have found a girlfriend. I knew it wouldn't be long before someone noticed all the great qualities that you have. I just want you to be happy, and it hurts me to realize that remaining friends with me must not make you that way. Please just be kind enough to know that whether or not you've received my text, I'm sorry that 6 months of friendship has ended this way. Maybe time will heal what wounds I have caused, and your Christian heart will allow you to forgive me."
I mean, that's this text you see in Act 1, the end of Act 1 of a horror film.
Oh, yeah.
So he did contact Becky Falwell again to try to get a job to offset the student loans.
That sentence is so bad.
Yeah, and he did return to Liberty and finished his degree there. And he was talking about how he was feeling like he was being groomed, and basically like, and he points out, if this were happening with an older man and a younger woman, we would probably be up in arms.
Yeah.
And, but he loops both of them into it.
It's so weird because, like, a lot of times with grooming, like, the stuff that you'll see has a lot to do with, like, unequal power dynamics. So it's then weird to then see that combined with the power dynamics of cuckoldry, It's very weird. I don't have any other comment other than, huh, and fuck these two. But not while they get to watch.
The thing that I keep coming to when we talk about these, like, evangelical, like, scandals is like, I'm no longer religious, but that quote from Mark still sticks with me. For what shall man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Like, these people are so fabulously wealthy. They have everything. Like, a fraction of their money would be a life-changing amount of money for any of us. And, like, yeah, do dumb shit because, like, they are, you know, soulless. Like,
yeah.
Speaking of which, Jerry Falwell, if you would like this podcast deleted, the price will be $4,000 a piece.
Yeah, we come cheap. Well, each. Like, you know, we got both, but like
4,000.
But yeah, I feel it's a very reasonable price.
Michael, you okay with that price?
4,000 is fine. I mean, for a cool 40, I would.
Don't finish that sentence. Don't finish that sentence. Don't finish that sentence. Don't finish that sentence. Don't finish that sentence.
I think this would become a Falwell Defender podcast for a cool 40. So, what? Anything else that any of us need to add to this?
I'm done.
I'm ready to give my rating for this scandal.
What do you rate the scandal, Josh?
I give this scandal a... We need a closet with a more see-through door.
I'm not going to besmirch the name of our Lord Jesus by rating the scandal.
I am going to honor this with something that I rarely say. I am speechless.
I think that's a good way. Well, everyone on the internet.
I am at Green History on Twitter.
And I'm at Michael's Diamonds on Twitter.
I'm at AaronSXL, where you can follow us on Twitter at MBMBFAM, where you can post evangelical scandals and sex things. We're sex positive, but everything about this scandal is negative. Well, if listening to this podcast made you want to cry, just know that it's okay to cry, because even Jesus wept. We'll see you next time when we review Angels and Demons.